Right guys, welcome back to the Regal Gentleman Studio. Today we've got Ibby in the chair. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
You good?
So,
Good.
New year, new me.
Nice, okay, cool. So what are you thinking of doing?
Hey, to be honest, I don't have like an actual idea, but
Okay.
the thing I want is to at least keep my forehead covered because it's a bit big,
Okay, no worries.
but everything else is up to you.
Okay, we'll probably have to work through a little bit more in terms of styles and what you're happy with and stuff. So in terms of keeping your forehead covered, is that enough coverage you've got now?
No.
So you want more coverage?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, no worries. So you want an actual full fringe?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, no worries. So in terms of, let's have a look. Oh, that looks on you. Okay. Yeah, that'll work, that'll be fine. And do you want that to be out your eyes?
Yeah, just above my eyes.
Just above your eyes, yeah, so nice and full. Okay, so in terms of a style then, are you thinking of, like, how short do you want to take the back and sides? Like, just out of interest, how short would you want to go?
I don't want to go too short because normally what I did was that I'd grow my hair for like 6 months.
Yeah.
Then every time I'd go in to get a haircut, it'd be a new thing entirely.
Okay.
And it was like a whole routine, but I really want to stick with one hairstyle this time.
You want to stick with one hairstyle, okay. So do you want to keep quite a bit of length in the back and sides then?
Yeah.
Would you be happy to? Okay. So what about if we looked at something like, let me get my phone, 1 second. What about if we were looking at, so have you looked at any images yourself online?
Not much.
Not much.
I looked at some mullet hairstyles
Okay.
and some normal fringe hairstyles.
Okay. Did you save any?
No.
No, okay. So it always helps if you get if you don't really know what you want, images are great because then that way it lets me see inside your brain a little bit and see what you're thinking. Because obviously my opinion might be completely different to yours and we could be here all day trying to figure out a haircut. So it's always good to get an idea of what it is you're thinking. So in terms of, now I've just typed into Pinterest men's fringe haircut. Simple thing, right? Would something like that type of style would that work for you?
Yeah, that would.
Would you like something along the lines of that? Yeah, okay, cool. Because that's all that is really just changing the shape of what you've got now. Because it's kind of taking the fringe up a bit, working with taking a bit of length off the back and sides, but changing the shape and creating a more rounded shape, which would kind of really work. You've got a very lean face, so that'll work quite well. So that's one thing we should save. But it's always worth looking at other ones as well, just in case something else sparks a bit more interest, you know? So you've got, let's have a little look on here. Let's see what else there is. You've got something a bit more modish like that, where the back's a little bit more sticky out. Is that something that you like the look of as well?
It does look good. It's hard to pick between the first and the second.
Yeah. There's quite a few on here. There's a lot of short ones as well. But in terms of the shape that you're sort of looking at, was the first one that we looked at, was that kind of like, would you say that was kind of spot on? Would you say in terms of that was, yeah?
Pretty much was.
Well, there we go. That's easy enough then, I guess. So yeah, I think we just do something along the lines of that one. So I'll just show you it again. It was interesting. It was like the first one that came up as well. I think it was. No, it was like it was like the sixth image that came up. So let's use that as an example, right? Now, the good thing about Pinterest, if anyone was watching, is when you go up, it shows you similar things as well. So that's why I love using Pinterest, because it gives you an idea. Like, there's the front on, and there's the side on. Do you know what I mean? So it's so hard to get these images from like Google, that obviously using something like Pinterest is really good for that. So again, we're looking at something along the lines of this kind of style. So again, things like these kind of shapes. Are these the kind of shapes that you're liking the look of, is it? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Perfect. Well, yeah, I think we go with that and we just adapt it to your hair texture and your hair type. You've already got quite a lot of texture in there already, so I don't think it'll be too dissimilar to what you've got. I think it'll just be more molded into what you like and just cutting that fringe in properly.
That sounds perfect.
Sound good, yeah? Cool, awesome. So yeah, let's get started. I think we'll cut it all in for you, cut the shape in. As you can see, it's overgrown. The shape you've got at the moment is a very 90s vibe going on, isn't it? It's very kind of central parted. You can see it's quite long on the top and it's sitting into the flicks at the bottom. So we need to sort of remold that into a more shorter top, shorter crown, shorter interior through here, shorter fringe, and the flicks at the bottom kind of stay. We'll take them up a little bit, but they kind of stay quite natural looking. So it's it's a bit of a change, but it's quite you've already got a good base for it all now. So yeah, well done on coming in at the right length. That's all I can say as well. So thanks for that, man. But let's give that a shampoo and condition, and then we'll get straight into the haircut. All right. Right. So we've just shampooed and conditioned. Now I'm gonna get into starting the section and patting off. So I'm gonna start with a horseshoe section. That is gonna allow me to separate the top to the back and sides. It's gonna give me the opportunity to start creating that shape into the back and sides. Now, this is the second look like this we've done so far today. And I'm not too sure if this is going to be something that is coming back in a trend or something, but this is the kind of like 2000s kind of sort of what we call like this sort of surfer look is what we used to call it back in the day. And it seems to be becoming quite popular. That kind of heavy fringe and a bit more forward. So I'm noticing like if this continues to happen throughout the next few months where everyone's wearing their hair kind of down or forwards, it could be worth noticing a bit of a change in trend. And I welcome it, to be honest. I love these looks. I think they're great. It takes me back a little bit of nostalgia. Anyone around my age who started off in the early 2000s will also remember these looks. They're very, very popular. It kind of came around the time when the bedhead haircuts were kind of coming in, so or already in. So it's that kind of lived-in look almost. I know Justin Bieber kind of brought this hairstyle back a little bit. Well, maybe I think he still might be wearing it to date now. I think I'm not too sure, but I know it was definitely that kind of like it was almost that kind of Americana, California surfer kind of look. So I hope it does come back in. But I think it's a really versatile hairstyle as well. It looks really nice. Slightly softer finishing as well, so it's not very harsh or anything like that at all. Natural edges, soft front. So again, going for that slightly more lived-in look, which is kind of making a bit more of a comeback by the looks of it. That's all in. Now what we need to do is, again, we need to take the back and sides up in terms of the perimeter. Now the perimeter tends to be isolated on this one. So the interior here, as I call the interior through here, these are the parts that tend to go a bit shorter. But again, palm to palm creates that anyway, because you're working everything straight. So if you think about it, the concave of the head, you're pulling that out, so that'll go shorter. As it gets to here, it'll be a bit shorter. Then as the head concaves inwards, it'll be a bit longer, but because you're keeping everything straight, that's the kind of thing. So a bit more length up here, a bit shorter in the middle, a bit longer at the bottom. So that will create the look instantly anyway. Okay, as you'll see in a minute when I start cutting, you'll notice the look is almost in there straight away. So in terms of the length, I want to take the back and sides up a touch. I want to take some of the perimeter up a little bit as well, but we really want to just change the shape and alter the shape now. And again, fringe is the main point of call on this one. Frame it as we sit into here, and that will fall in nicely for Ibby as well. So starting off, 2-finger width section, from here like that, and we pull in temple into the center, like so. Pull out the fringe like that, make sure that's out of the way. Yeah, if he's youth on his side, he's got a lovely hairline there, so it's still sitting nice and straight. You pull this out. So this is where I pick the length, okay? Now this is judgment, okay? That's my own judgment now. So I don't think we need all that. But we want to try and keep the perimeter in to this length, as it is. Like so. There's quite an awful lot of length sitting in from that sort of 90s kind of style that it looks as though we had cut in earlier. As you can see, that kind of top heaviness with the disconnection there. So we don't need all that. So I need the opposite now. I need the bottom to be longer than the top. Like so. An awful lot of length that is unneeded. So same as when he came in that side. It's the same length, right? Maybe a tiny bit shorter. But look at the difference how fuller it is there compared to what's looking like there. See the edges are a lot more looser. Okay. So now it can be a little bit nerve-wracking when you start to see loads of length coming off. But if you remember what the goal is, it's by keeping them edges, it's still some length in. This bit being a bit shorter here really, really helps with the finish. So again, if this is a trend that's coming back in now, get practicing on some models or some mannequins and just get used to maybe building that confidence up if you are new to the industry and you're at a time where, I mean, I'm not too sure about anyone else, but it's quite a great time to be in the industry. You know, there's so much versatility going on with hair and men's hair especially. I think if you are at that point where you're starting off, you've got a really good opportunity to learn so much, just with platforms like ours and other platforms as well. It's like, just get yourself a couple of mannequins and just get practicing, because trends come and go. And if you can learn to utilize different techniques, because all a trend is obviously a change of hairstyle, but the technique stays the same. You know, think about fading techniques, burst fades, tapers, things like that. The technique of a taper or technique of a burst fade is the same technique you would use if you're doing just a regular skin fade back and sides. So if you learn the techniques such as like this, like palm to palm, razor and things like that, you just adapt the style. The technique stays exactly the same. Like if you look at the haircuts that I've done on the channel, you know, the flow hairstyles are done the same way as I'm doing this sort of surfer hairstyle. Palm to palm, same kind of thing. I'm not doing anything differently. The only thing I'm going to do differently is I'm going to texturize it a little bit more and I'm going to wear it down. So this technique allows you to do a lot of different haircuts and still create the same sort of the end result that you need to just by doing this one technique. So try and adapt the haircuts but keep the same technique. As you can see that there, we're creating that finish now. Longer, more isolated bottom. There we go. And then just use the mirror to make sure that's all set and even. Yeah. So match it up. That's all coming down to the same point of reference as well. Perfect. I'm going to do the edges now. So I'm going to try and keep a lot of this shape here. Take the middle bit up a bit higher. So starting from a bit up here, pressing very lightly, and then pressing a bit harder as I get down the bottom to remove the length. Take it to there. So I'm thinning out the fullness through here, but then just taking the length off as we get lower down. Like that. And this has got to look as though it's uncut, essentially. And just use the razor just to finish off them edges like that. Well, while I'm here, should remove that neck hair as well, just so I can see the edge a little bit better. And not putting any harsh lines in, just keeping it as natural as possible. I'm sure twist, just slide into it so it breaks it up a little bit more as well. Again, you want that to be really natural, like so. Take this a bit shorter, frame the face a bit more as well, the shorter layer. And this is a very visual sort of haircut as well. You're just visualising what the image looks like and what you want it to finish like, so. Like that. Happy with that. So just sliding through with the razor just to create more movement. Like so. You don't need to overly texturize it. This is more like a very lived in look more than a heavily texturized finish. I take a section just above the crown, so the round of the head at the back. Take a section through here, like so. Pull this back, and roll this forwards like that. Bit of pain, I understand. Maybe it's a bit of a pain having your fringe in your eyes, but we just took that out of the way for a second like that, okay? Now, take a section, finger width in length, because we're taking a bit more length off. And I'm just going to cut this to judge my judgment really. So again, what we're looking at, still we want movements, but we still want to take quite a bit of length off. So you'd be looking about that much off to create that shape and movement. Yeah, like that. No way, just straight across the top. Okay, 2 sections either side. We've got our guide behind, you can see that. Now the main thing we're looking for here is the collapse. So normally when you're doing say a longer hairstyle, you tend to cut it quite square so the hair doesn't collapse as much. So it stays kind of building up from the sides create the foundation, it builds up into like a square layer. When you're doing something like a rounded layer like this, you need the hair to collapse into the sides. So what you do, you just take the corners away and that creates collapse. So that's what we're going to do today as well. I'm going to match up the top, these 2 sections here that we're doing across the middle, like right across the middle. I'm going to use that, we're going to connect in the sides to the top and take that corner away. And that's where the hair falls on itself and collapses. And that's how you get that rounder finish, especially in these kind of hairstyles. Pull that straight up, so you have that natural over direction. Okay, I can control the length and the weight on the front. So now next up, we're connecting the sides to the top section, okay? So we'll come forwards, pull the fringe out the way. Same thing again, finger width section, pick it up, and we work on the corner. So as I pick this up here, we've got our length from the left-hand side to the right-hand side. There, it's just that little corner. I want to take that away. And this is where the hair collapses, okay? So again, pick it up. Got a guide from either side, or a guide from behind as well. And again, it's all about angles. I want to take the corner off, so I'm using the left-hand side as the guide. So that bit there is what I'm working to, because I want to take the corner off. If I'd done this, I'd still have a point of reference, but I'd be squaring it off even more. So this is just purely through what I want to try and create. I want to take that corner off. So again, if you're using a mirror, you'd look at where the roundness is of the head, and you'd be using that to take the corner off, just right there like that. Pull it back. There we go. Now there's the sides, and the top done. Take that corner away. Pull that back. There's the guide. Now what we'll do is cut the fringe in, cut our layer in. So we work out where we want that to fall, just above the eyebrows. So pull that down, and there's where that falls to there, nice and straight. That falls bang on where we want it to, just like that. Okay, down, got our guide. There. Point on the ends just to make that sit nice and natural. Bring that right around to the sides. Right, so crown is left to do. So we comb that out from the way it grows, the back, like so. Comb all that out, and just over the crown, take a finger width section. We pull this over, like so. We pull it down into the back and the sides. We take all that length away. Now this is a way of doing it where we don't cut the crown off, okay? So we're still maintaining quite a bit of length sitting over the crown. So pulling everything over the crown. So remember, this is all one finger width away from the crown. There we go. We just kept that in. So you see we've still got length in the crown, but we're just making sure it's not going to stick up. I know we need it rounded and stuff, but I don't want it to stick up. I think that's okay to take a bit shorter, so I can use the guide from in front. I can cut that away. I can cut into that corner. So cut that in. I'm going to work back to the crown. And everything else just falls in really nicely. Make sense? Come on. Now to texturize, we'll do some slide cutting into this. Again, this is a kind of 2000s method to create this look. You can use a razor as well if you want to, but I think let's stay true to the decade and let's create the same texture. Slide in. Right, now to finish off, I'm going to use, what am I going to use? I might use a little bit of salt spray, I think, or something similar to salt spray. I think that'll give the same kind of finish. So I use about that much in my hands, work it through, and I apply this in to the hair, like so. All the way over. This application, this is not styling yet, okay? Purely application. Make sure you're working it through your hands and you're working it right into the hair like so. Get it stuck in, okay? Now, Ibby, I need you to do me a favour now, bud.
Yeah.
I need you to shake your head left and right for me.
Oh, okay.
Just shake it left and right for me. That's it, perfect, thank you. So that lets it fall flat and it makes it sit out a little bit. And then what we'll do, we'll dry this off with a hairdryer. We'll dry it messy. And then we style this coming from one way to the other. So I'm on this side, so I'll do it from left to right, like so, and then from right to left. We've done it from left to right, right to left. That will start to fall very, very natural. Dry the interior. And once that's dried off, so because we've got the product in there, we can style it with the product in there as well. So you've got the product already sitting in. You can pull these little bits out, so you've got the flicks at the bottom, so you're all falling through, and you can just let that fall and sit really natural. So lift it up, and then just let it fall how it wants to, and you get that kind of nice fullness through the front. And you can twist these little bits around, separate the top as well, so you get that more beachy kind of vibe going on. And then the more natural you leave it, the more faster you play around with it essentially, the more messier it looks. Like so. There you go, mate. How's that look for you?
It looks so good.
Looks nice, doesn't it, man?
Yeah.
So you can see what we've done there with the fringe, can't you? That's kind of like the main focus point, right? And everything else is kind of cut just to kind of create that texture and shape that falls in there. So it's just a very natural finish, dead easy to play around with. Super easy to style. I mean, it's not a very hard look to maintain either, because it just sits in the shape that you want it to. So if you turn it to the side a little bit, you see the flicks at the bottom all kind of coming out, but they're not as wild as they were before. But you still got that nice shape in there as well. Happy, yeah?
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you very much, man. Thank you. That's how everything falls. It's just very natural looking, you see.
This is so cool.
It's cool, isn't it, man? That all sits in there like that. So I think you're ahead of the trend here, mate. I think you're ahead of the trend. You may be used for years to come, mate. You never know. You never know. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. But no, I think it looks great, mate. I'm glad you gave me a little bit of free rein, and I'm glad we got off to the best start as well by just getting lucky and finding the right style for you straight away. Thanks, Ibby.
Thank you.